We put a lot of assets in here. We're really testing to see if my router, our router, because my dad's here, and he set it up, as well as my computer can handle it. But let's find out. It appears everything's running smoothly, which should bode well when we do non-paper ingesting related content, you know, regular streams. Let's see how the audio works. All right, cool. That means we are good to post the promo, because if this didn't work, we'd have to delete the stream and start again, because we're all about quality checking here. The days of me having a stream with sound not working, it's over. The days where I don't announce when a stream happens and it happens at a time where like you're eating lunch or I don't know, you're in the middle of a class, yes, those times are not over. I know I didn't announce this, but we've been slowly looking at every aspect of what a paper eating or non-paper eating live stream can be, and we're trying to create kind of the ideal organism, which is interestingly what my speech is about. So, you know, this is kind of like internet eugenics. You know, we're designing the perfect stream by looking at each piece of it and altering it. You see? And I forgot my water. Hold on, give me a second. Thanks for putting the dish. I don't think I've ever actually noticed you putting the dishes away until now. You've done it. I know you've done it before. But I'll let Mom know that you did it so that like she knows.
Yeah, it's okay.
No, nonsense. If I don't let, I think she might know, but she forgets. Okay. Danny, interesting. Okay, so this is so interesting. Whenever we do streams at different times, depending on the o'clock time, we get a kind of different subset of viewers. I haven't seen Danny on a stream in a long time. I assume you live in, I think, like, I don't know, Michigan or something, because I believe when we stream at around, like, 7, it's like 10, right? And, of course, all people are asleep at 10 o'clock, especially me. Yes, no, you have made it. I'm more just happy that I made it, you know, that I'm doing this right now. But hello, feel free to put your score into the chat. Of course, you already know how this goes. You've been with us for 3 years, which is very impressive. Shout out, where is it? Shout out to Danny, seriously. I mean it. Okay. This is actually on Saturdays how this is gonna go, because we're gonna start streaming on the dot at 12:30 p.m. every Saturday once this series is over, which should be next Friday. There will be a video as well as a new banner. I have a bunch of old photos that I was thinking of making a cool banner picture. There's one during New Year's with the New Year's balloons, and I'm sitting on the toilet. Don't worry, you only see a fraction of my ass. It is actually community guidelines safe, because you don't actually see anything. And I was thinking of coupling that. It's a very beautifully framed photo. I think it's one of the best photos I've ever taken, as a matter of fact. So expect for that to be our new banner alongside a very strict schedule that we will be following to a T. Thank you. You're genuinely excited. Thank you. That's very good. Good. I'm glad it's like a woohoo situation and not a, oh, good for you that you're figuring your shit out. Good luck, I guess. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. But right now, it's not about anything but eating paper. So let's just do that. I was expecting for Sean and Mr. Gecko to be here, and they always tell bad jokes. So I was just waiting for them to tell a bad joke so that I can give them the old, you know, which is very loud. It's gonna mic peak. It's gonna punish and ear rape everybody here. So it kind of de-incentivizes bad jokes. But it turns out I don't even need to do that right now. So. Not the cheeks out. No. I mean, yes, technically the cheeks were out, but they were. I had a long shirt, so you couldn't see anything. All you could see was kind of like my upper thighs. Is not a single ball hair gets exposed. It was such a impeccably framed picture. Only gives you everything you need, none of what you don't. So, trust me, I can actually find it. Let's see. If I have to find it because of the way OBS streams work, I don't think I'll be able to look at chat for like maybe 3 seconds, but you know. Give me some grace. Ooh. There you go. Well, it says happy birthday. Okay, turns out I forgot my own picture, but that's fine. And again, Danny, I'm so glad that just you're here, right? Because very few people come to these streams anymore because of how inconsistent I've been. So it's par for the course. This is another huge time change. Like, nobody was expecting this. So it is very cool that people are still able to join and engage. Me, personally, to give my score of the day, I forgot to edit this. Hold on, give me a second. I'm feeling a 6, okay, I'm feeling a 6.2 only because there are a lot of things that remind me of what I am capable of, right? And those same things are reminding me that I'm not doing anything about it, right? So it's reminding me, like, listen, we have a plan. Let me minimize this so that it looks totally aesthetically pleasing and normal, just like this entire stream. Look at that. There we go. And I've just been thinking to myself, like, yeah, you know what? I can do this because no matter what, like, I already have a huge workload. I am sleep deprived, but it's improving slightly. We're doing 6 to 7 hours a night, incrementally over 2 or 3 kind of spurts of sleep, which I know means less rapid eye movement sleep. I know. I have consulted scientists myself about this. And yes, it's still not good, but it's better than like 3 to 5 hours a night, which is what we were dealing with last week. Like, what a fucking nightmare. So I was in the middle of some things, but I'm relaxing now so I can watch. That's good. You see, you have work, and then of course you have your recreation, which you spend your entire work/school day looking forward to, which is this guy. It's so cool that, like, you know, I'm the dessert rather than the vegetable, you know, in the meal, in the proverbial meal of life. Thank you. Which, I mean, I can surmise that your score is at least above a 5 based off that description. So, cheers to that. But I am kind of passing the 6 threshold in my score here because I want to. I mean, I'm excited for actually motivating myself. I have to write an entire platform speech, and we're going to the speech and debate tournaments, 3 of them, and I'm definitely losing for sure because I'm very inexperienced. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I might be good with talking, zooming in, but when it comes to formatting and creating a well-structured APA formatted speech with a beginning, middle, and coherent ending, oh, you best believe I can't find footing to save my life. I couldn't format my way out of a paper bag with a hole in it. So I expect for this to be a very rough bump in my learning curve, but it's going to be cool. It's going to be very fun. And it's going to be fun because I'm kind of going into experiences really appreciating the process rather than, you know, the end result, which, again, I know tons of self-help books, it's what they talk about, but it's like I notice that it's just happening. It's happening. I look back, why was that so enjoyable? That should not have been that enjoyable. And I'm going, oh, yeah, it's because I was like, oh, the thing that I have to do, the chore, is no longer a chore. I'm genuinely, because there'd be times where I'd treat this like a chore, but just good things would start happening when I would just be immersed in the moment and enjoying it. And I'm sure the stream's lagging right now. I'm sure the dancing alien gif, all of that stuff is just making this look like shit. It's possible that my sentences are clipping right now and no one can hear what I'm saying, but it's totally okay because you know what? My dopamine receptors, they're popping off right now. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Thank you, my dude. It'll be a 6 when I hit Sir Benjamin. All right, cool. Well, you know, your pen is only maybe, you know, an arm's length away. I'm sure people these days, they always have it with them. So take a hit. Let the blue light from my stream enter your eyeballs and watch your brain slowly get cooked. Find a speech, don't copy. It'll help understanding how to write a speech. Hell yeah. Yeah, I know. I've already started. I'm using a formatter, but I gain no joy from thinking about formatting, and these classes require that we think about formatting. And I've been in comms classes and creative speeches before, but it really is okay, you can't even get away with getting anything greater than a C- and not have your formatting down to a T, meaning I'm going to have to actually probably spend a couple hours per speech, like actually actively thinking about it. I don't want to fucking do that, but I have a speech. We had many different ideas. The first draft of my speech was about how child pornographers are using AI to create their own child porn, right? huge debate around that. The idea that, oh, you're not really harming anyone except obviously the future victims of the people who was watching the AI generated content and having their fantasies get enabled rather than getting actual help that they need. But I mean, that's already a closed case. It's just got a shock value to it. And I was at Toastmasters recently and somebody was like, oh yeah, you're pretty funny. You can deliver a humorous speech. I'm like, for one, no, I have failed at doing that before. And thing number two, that's not all I'm good for. I can deliver a really unfunny yet informative speech, and that's my challenge to myself. So that's when I had my second draft, and it was a speech about, and it was called Art of the Funeral, about how recently there's been instances of preserved corpses being put in funny poses by their moms and etc. at funeral homes, and that's what the funeral procession is, right? But that was a little too goofy, not enough sources to actually make it informative. I want to prove to these dinosaurs that I can actually create an informative speech with scholarly sources, because it seems like people are just going, oh yeah, your talking sounds good in the moment. You can on the fly create sentences that are good, and you can be like a humorous speech. You could deliver like a wedding toast about a funny toilet story, as the best man. I'm like, that's not all I'm good for. I can do my research, and I can create a thesis. Even my personal favorite video on good content, which is my blackface art versus propaganda speech, the sourcing was bad. I had to cut so much fluff because I was literally just noodling around because I didn't proofread the speech, that even my best performance yet has significant room for improvement. I feel you about that. Hey, C's are good still. I know, man, but I need my GPA to not remain at like 2.7 something, I'm trying to actually transfer, and my parents are putting an ultimatum. If you don't transfer, bad shit's going to happen. Perhaps I'll get malaria if I don't transfer. So I'm serious. They're telling me your life will go right if and only if you successfully transfer. The second one's wild, yes. But our third speech, it's a cataclysmic one, and I've done extensive research about it. It is about a new technology involving DNA alteration. Not just alteration, that was CRISPR, that everybody made a big hullabaloo about a little bit ago. It's this thing called SynHG, and it creates entire chromosomes, entire strings of DNA from scratch, which was before unheard of. And now it seems like humanity is gaining the capability to create entire modified humans. Now see, that's something different. We've never seen the likes of that before. The technology for, AI-generated images to be created on the fly, I know that became a thing in mid to late 2010s. It was relatively niche, didn't create headlines at the time, and people were just saying, oh, it won't really be a thing because the people who wield the power are trying to be responsible, which was true. And even when like BillyBot, right, the Billy chat bot back in the 90s, and Eevee Cleverbot, I mean, I know some people remember that. I remember Eevee Cleverbot. During all that hullabaloo, like, people scoffed at it and like, oh, look at how bad it is. But it's like, what it's doing is collecting a database of thousands, possibly millions of people conversing with it and archiving it and then remixing it into coherent sentences using an AI algorithm. Now, that's, once you've crossed that threshold, you can't uncross it. And now we're here to GPT land, and it's causing actual problems. People are scoffing at the fact that people can create entire chromosomes and also select every single asset in a string of DNA, right? What SynHG, and no one's talking about it because people are too concerned about the Charlie Kirk shit and the Trump shit and the, I don't know, whatever else is going on, the Brexit shit. Look up SynHG, because what this does is it uses a thing called designer DNA, and from a thing called designer babies. Now, I believe in Japan, they already created babies with DNA hand-selected by the scientists who created them. This is beyond CRISPR. What CRISPR does is it alters a segment of a gene in an already existing person so you can change like their eye color. Now, race and more psychological factors are determined by multiple genes and possibly nurture rather than nature. But what's interesting is 30 to 60%, it's been calculated, of your psychological abilities and your personality, even your proclivity to incurable depression, is determined by your genetics. And so, when people are scoffing at this technology like, okay, it's very limited, there's no way it'll become widespread, I say, watch out, gentlemen, because we are now crossing the threshold. This SynHG technology that emerged only a month ago, and the idea of creating an entire chromosome from scratch, only became a thing in March of last year. No one talked about it. Yes, it is a slow climb up to the hill, but When we get there, we now know that we are capable of creating modified humans. You can select race, personality, eye color, strength, height, build. All of those are determined by genetics, even personality. If for all we know, 30 to 60% at the very least is confirmed to be determined by genetics. I mean, that's at the very least, because there's a lot we don't know about psychology. So there could be some guy out there with 100 petri dishes 15 years from now who might be programming a bunch of embryos to have incurable depression, creating suffering from scratch. There are some sick puppies out there that are going to try and do that. So that's what's really fucking interesting to me. And I want to write a speech about that. I might even make it into a video, It's going to be kind of a dual purpose thing. I mean, you can tell, like, I've done enough research to the point where I am very passionate about this subject. And again, it's not a, we're fucked type thing. But, I mean, we're seeing the warning signs. Everybody was scoffing at Evie Cleverbot, but what she was doing was compiling what she analyzed as sentences with verbiage, different figures of speech, analyzing it and combining it and mix and matching it into coherent sentences. A database of everything that the internet would feed her and regurgitating it. What GPT is just Cleverbot, but just a greater magnitude of that algorithm. So, again, you guys didn't take Evie Cleverbot seriously, and now look where we are. No one's taking SynHG seriously. Oh, creating a chromosome from scratch? Pff, what's that gonna entail? I would not do that if I were you. Maybe all the scientists that are responsible for this, they're gonna be super noble about their cause, and they're just gonna create nothing but positive effects, a techno revolution, right? Because altering genes means that you can basically cure most diseases, right? What this means, and before, by the way, with CRISPR, people were using that to talk about curing people of E. coli poisoning and making them immune to salmonella contamination, right? But there is a process, and I'm still looking into this because it's very complicated, but larger strings of DNA to even create those or to even alter them mildly was considered impossible. DNA is a very complicated thing, I'm sure, as anybody can surmise. And there would be some sort of cross-contamination pollution thing where the strings would get mixed up and the DNA would fall apart if you tried to construct a string that was longer than a couple pieces. But now entire chromosomes can be created from scratch without a goddamn hitch, right? So, I'm just saying, those implementing this techno revolution, if it is on the horizon, maybe it is, they should be held as responsible as possible, because this is serious technology that cannot be fucked with. This would be a wild-ass movie. I know, they tried to do it. They did, I know Star Trek, the idea of Khan, he came from a species of people created entirely through eugenics. Speaking of which, this is eugenics, right? People have wanted to do this for years. Everybody's had that one grandparent where it's like, oh, why couldn't you be a boy? Oh, why couldn't you be a little less dark? Why did you have to have your mom's genes mixed in there? I mean, arguably, we now have the capability to do this. And it is, who knows what the hell's going to happen? What the Spartans kind of somewhat did, and it's what the Nazis tried to do. I mean, their whole hatred of other races was based off of, let's populate the earth with the ideal organism, so let's weed out the bad ones. Now we have the ability to create a human being from scratch with only the traits that any person would want, Is that too much control for the individual? Were we evolved for this? My answer is no. Even the scientists who are supposedly noble, who wield the power, being able to have that level of control over creating life, is there any way to uncross that threshold? That's what I'm worried about. I don't want to worry people or anything. I don't want to freak anybody out, but I mean, it's just a salient fact. It's just a salient fact of what we're dealing with here, But it's going to be a great speech. I mean, again, it really helps if you're passionate about the subject. I have labeled this as an informative speech, and I'm realizing that it might accidentally turn into a persuasive speech because I really am preaching a lot of caution. What amount of caution is required to turn an informative? How neutral do I really have to be? My main intent is to inform, not persuade. I just so happen to be persuasive while giving the speech. That's the way I'm going to frame it. Hopefully I don't get like an F or something. I mean, yeah, throughout human history, Danny, you have a point. We have dealt with much lower stakes than this, and we fucked up. So, while wielding 1/10 of the power, we have created cataclysmic results from this. So it's like, our moral principles also, when it comes to acceptance of the self, is based off of you are good just the way you are. We aren't able to predict who our kids are going to be, so let's accept our kids the way they are, you know? I don't know who my son was going to be, but I'm so glad it's you. That type of statement, that's what really gives us strength, at least in here. So when we gain the ability or the choice to not even, you know, when acceptance of yourself or your ancestors or your descendants but is no longer an option, and it's going to be widely accessible. Oh, you can just choose every aspect, even when it comes to psychologically. Like, because, again, 30 to 60%, it's been calculated, of your brain activity is confirmed to be determined by genetics. So you could, and as we expose more of what our personality is comprised of, because we know so little, but it's still objectively all in, like, what your genes can determine, it's already there. So when you are able to possibly determine your child's personality, you can pick and choose and mix and match, you know, who morally, personality-wise, your fucking kid's gonna be. There is no option of acceptance, you know? That is true dystopia. Yeah, I can't imagine someone bad having that power and straight up abusing it at some point. Could be cool. Also, I don't know. I mean, that's my thesis statement, too. IDK, I have no fucking clue either. It is very, very interesting to think about. I think the best actual feasible solution is to spread awareness, because people were not aware of GPT when the technology was around, and people only started noticing it when it was already out on the open web actively replacing artists. Then we noticed. Too little, too late. The damage was already starting to be done, / was already done. So I'm saying, if we talk about this now, not saying societally there will be a change, I'm just one man, and I don't really have much of a platform, you know. It's like, yes, this is a platform, but it's not a big platform. It's not like I'm gonna make that much of a change, but at least we can try. So yeah, we should publicize the advancement of SynHG and encourage for it to be used for good, or at least try our hardest darndest, you know. Because our personal principles and values is formed off of this inevitability that, you know, human genetics are random and undetermined, almost mysterious. And when we gain control over genetics and who we can be or who we can create or who the next generation is going to be specifically to a T, I think all of those principles and values that our society is based on start falling apart big time. I mean, when it comes to culture and art, like the principle of hard work, put the work in, good product will come out. That's the only way to create an appealing image. That's being destroyed right now because of GPT. So I say big legislative guardrails should be constructed, but we're taking too fucking long to do that. It is the struggle of our times, you know. British Parliament, they got to speed this up a little bit. I'm not saying there has to be like a panic or anything like that, but within the next 5 years, we should at least have a plan. But worst case scenario, if I construct this right and we're all doomed, at least I'll have a cool speech. At least I'll have a cool speech that'll get me a good grade, you know, and I can turn it into a cool, funny video with some dancing alien gifs in it. Also, check out... Oh, it won't even... I found this reel on the internet. I thought it's a really awesome joke. You should actually hear... I think I can... Where's the...
What did the smoothie say to the banana?
I don't know.
You make me thick.
That's right.
What did the smoothie...
Okay, get that out of here. Just feel I had to showcase that. Sorry for getting too lighthearted on the stream. I had to kind of get some nasty dark humor. Too busy worrying about other things. Yeah, I mean, that's That is a really good thesis. I remember the Coen brothers they've made so much art about that struggle, and it definitely is like to a certain point you got to go, okay, let's the outside world, let it do its thing. If it blows up, it blows up. If it fixes itself, it fixes itself. Either way, we don't know. There's no way for us to know. There's a certain aspect of futility to this. So let's put that aside and work internally, right? Because there's a whole ecosystem of thought inside your brain. So while deforestation happens and while holes keep getting sodomized into the ozone layer, we can at the very least try and unsodomize the ecosystem inside of ourselves, you know? Day 991, let's go. Hey, new viewer alert, everybody. Welcome, Reborn07. Okay, yes. Well, I hope that this creates more of a, another spiritual rebirth. You know, people say they come into the streams one man, come out another. So hopefully this reshapes your principles. Hopefully the act of watching someone eat an inedible object will change your perspective on nutrient intake, public health, possibly sex life, etc. So we appreciate your stream patronage, all right? Cheers. How's it going, man? Very good question. This number right here represents my score of the day. Now, I score my days out of 10, with 5 being the average score rounded up or down to the nearest tenths place. Now, right now, I have rounded down from around 6.2, like 7, or not 7, 3. 6.23. 3 is the opposite of 7. So this score, we're doing a little above average right now. I'm feeling a little bummed out because I want to do more, you know? This paper reading series is cool and all, but I'm just eagerly awaiting the moment when I can move on to something else, which will happen on day 1000. Now, what we're planning on doing is doing a stream at 11:30 on Friday the 26th. Of this month. That's when day 1000 will be. I will be at Mesa College. If anybody is at Mesa College at that time or wants to be at Mesa College to catch day 1000, which, by the way, you experience Halloween and Christmas. Those are special occasions that the nation celebrates every year. This is once in a lifetime. So there will never be a day 1000 stream ever again after Friday of next week. So Mesa College, 11:30. Try and be there, my friend. 11:30, what time zone? Pacific time. We are on the dirty, grimy West Coast over here. And we have this much paper left. I'm so glad that you could actually catch these in real time because we have it was dawning on me today just how little time we have left. And I've been making the mistake of doing this too late because my circadian rhythms kick in at around 6 to 7. So it's kind of like I'm eating, fuck it, let's get it over with. No, man. Also, at around this time, I don't get enough, engagement. So this is literally just better distribution of activity per time. So I'm not a new viewer. It's me, William. Oh, William Morris? William Morris. As in ex-CCA TV host, reformed CCA TV minion. That's freaking sweet, man. I know you're with Zach. I hope Zach is doing well. Of all the people who occasionally engages with me on the internet, I think Zach is the oldest. He introduced me to Jacksepticeye, which was my first YouTuber that I'd be blaring on computer speakers from my room, pissing my dad off. So credit to Zach. Where's my thing? God damn it. That's not it. Shout out to Zach. Shout out to Zach. That's right. Can't believe it took me that long to find out. I have to clip that too, because there's a part where the people disappear at the end, and I gotta fucking... William Thiessen? What the fuck? Hold on. Let me just look this up. I feel so bad, because I know... It's been years. It's been years... William Thiessen? I can't find you on the internet. I looked up William Thiessen on Instagram, and I found this. That's not you, probably. Where do I know you from, then? William Thiessen? What, from 4th grade? I don't know. I'm trying to think of all the scenarios I could know you from. Okay, will you tell me the answer to that? We are on the last couple pieces of paper. I used to like him, then he went all, he went all leftist. All I know is his hair's gotten very gray, and I think he's trying to disguise his depression, which I should watch out for. I think it's purely because he is just working so damn hard. I mean, this is what happens. That's the price you pay when your channel blows up. You get over obligated. I know there's a way to work around it, but poor fucking guy. William Thiessen. William Thiessen. Yeah, I can't. So you're not on the internet. Where do I know you from? I'm on Facebook. All right, then. Let me look you up on Facebook. I'm not really a names guy. I'm more of a faces guy. Sometimes I even forget my own mother's name, but I will always remember her face, so... I'm gonna, like, dox your face here, but this is necessary. Here we go. It's just a picture of a cat, man. How am I supposed to... Is this you? There's, like, 10 William Thiessens. Digital creator with 16 followers. Is that you? It's a picture of a tractor and an AI-generated video of, like, an Asian chef hand massage. Okay, that's not... Well, I have a Sonic background on my PFP. A thing that you drew. So far, it's a close-up of an old man's forehead. Random guy in suit. Looks like a Pawn Stars co-host. We have to go way down, huh? Because you don't live here. Because it's sorting it by location. Okay, well, you tell me where I know you from, you know? Because I don't remember. I recognize the name. It had to be like high school or something. Yeah, all I'm getting, I don't see a single Sonic PFP anywhere here. I like this one. Okay. I have glasses and I'm doing a thumbs up. You have glasses and you're doing a thumbs up. Is it this one? That's not a human, that's a monkey. God damn it, that's not a thumbs up either. It's all AI generated. I believe there's like 3 or 30 times more AI generated accounts than not. That's fucked. I mean, we have someone with glasses, but you're not doing the thumbs up. I mean, you're smiling. I mean, not you. This is not you, but I like to go for runs in the morning and play video games. You see, even that feels like it's generated by GPT. Okay, well, instead of giving me, like, cryptic escape room clues here, just tell me where I know you from. Oak Lake, I'm in Manitoba. Yeah, no, that's an untrackable location. You're really off the grid. There ain't no way I can even find you on the internet. It had to be, like, Pizza Port or something like that. This is the last piece, by the way. Well, we will gain more super secret clues with my big fat magnifying glass as to who you are, all right? But until then, we're going to have a little funeral procession for this stream. I don't have a snare drum, so you're just going to have to deal with just a hi-hat and some brushes, so... Actually, you know what's cool? With just a hi-hat, you can create a little beat because there's a bell here. Like distinct sound, so let me see if I can pull this off. Or I could go... Alright, I'm having too much fun. Ugh. Well, everybody, I think, okay, so you're specific only to the internet. Never mind, I never met you in high school. Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow. That'll be day 900. Let me swallow this. 992 of eating a sheet of paper a day. Shout out to Reborn07, aka William Thiessen, Ian30 for a little cameo, gave his score and dipped. Sorry you had to be in school. We were all kids once. And of course, Danny, fan favorite, or my favorite fan. Make sure to live, laugh, cry, and also not die. And until next time, this is goodbye. All right. 3, 2, 1, and...